Hi everyone, in this video we're going to be going over the utility functions found in our notebooks. We've added this utility function file just to break out some of the code that we repeat. It's a nice little refactoring that keeps our notebooks nice and clean. So as terms of a Python file, it's a little bit different where everything is squashed into a singular file, but similar to a notebook, we've got all of our regular imports here. These are the tools we use to do all of our computation, I/O, and mapping. We've declared some global variables that are useful across all our notebooks, and these are our typical variables that we want to use as defaults. So in this case, we're typically using 10 quantiles for our mapping. We're doing a heat map and using the plasma color palette, for example. There's also some type hints and some tooltips. These are the tooltips themselves, contain a bit of HTML, which allow rendering of the maps of some extra data when we mouse over objects. There's also this global view state here. This helps us pin the maps to a particular location, in this case, the entire globe. This ensures that we capture everything when we spin the map up in our notebook. This function here, generate color mapping, is useful for us as we have to generate the correct color mapping for our different styles for our different maps. We don't want to be rewriting this code here, but essentially all it is doing is taking the color maps that are available in matplotlib and rejigging them to an array of 255 channels for red, green and blue, as well as the alpha channel. So the alpha channel is defaulting to 0.8, giving a little bit of transparency so we can see the map clearly underneath our tiles. This function here, the generate color index series, actually performs the quantile cut on our arrays and our data frames, and then assigns the correct color mapping given the particular quantile that it fit into. This function, the generate hexagon layers function, stitches together the previous two functions we talked about. So firstly we have the generation of the color mapping. Based on the number of quantiles, you need a different spread of the colors in the color palette that you choose. Next we take the particular heat map indicator that we want to use and we apply it to our data frame given the color mapping that we've just used as well. Finally, this is where we interface with PyDeck. So we use the H3 hexagon layer here, and of most import to us is we take our data frame, translate it to pandas, because unfortunately it doesn't use the polar's arrow underpinning. We indicate which column is actually encapsulating the hexagon that we want to plot, and then we tell it where to take the fill colors from as well. This function, the print schema rich table, is a pretty simple function. It's not necessarily that necessary in our code, it just makes it a bit easier to digest the schema that comes along with the Parquet tables. It uses the rich library to generate a table and print it. Here you can see that there's two columns that we know we're going to get, the name and type, which is the name of the column, and the type, that could be a string integer, for example, of all the columns in our table. And then we can provide additional metadata keys, which we can then represent in our table, explaining what's going on in the entirety of the tables and our datasets. The generate view state utility function is quite simple. It's just taking our data frame and then based on the aggregation of the longitude and latitudes that are in that little part of the data frame, it zooms in the map on that location. So we don't have to manually put this in every time, it can be calculated given the data frame that we're actually mapping. The estimate dataset size function is quite simple. It just takes a sample of the dataset that we're looking at and tries to estimate how big this will be in memory. This helps us work out if we want to use a data frame or a lazy frame. The generate geodata from shapefile function simply takes a shapefile and generates a GeoPandas data frame. The generate WKT to H3 index function takes a WKT representation of geometry and re-indexes it into a long list of hexagon indexes. This gives us our hexagon index representation of a shape, which we can then perform geometry joins on, and this allows us to have really fast spatial joins across our different shapes that we're looking at. So you can see here there's a few elements going on, but critically we actually have to default to the regular H3 library and uses H3 shapes to selves experimental. Now this actually takes a particular geometry, that could be a circle or maybe it's a marine region boundary, for example. We use that in those cases too, and it translates that to all of the hexagons that cover that shape. We also have to specify the particular resolution that we want to do this joining on, and this will give us more or less resolution at the boundary layer, which can introduce some error, but it's a nice trade-off for speed. Lastly, there's a bit of aggregation that we have to do to tag the H3 index against what is actually representing. So in the cases of some of the notebooks, we take the wind farm regions, for example, and we need to know which wind farm region is associated with which H3 hexagon.